Hey, welcome to Zombie Tactics, joined this evening by Emma, the tactical rat terrier who is always on the lookout for the undead. She's got the ears, she's got the eyes, she's got the nose to sniff them out. She's a heck of an early warning system, let me tell you. Thank you, Emma. It happens to be another episode of Stupid Gun Laws, and what I always think of when I think of this particular stupid gun law is a trip that my wife and I took to Tennessee a while back before the floods. And while we were there, we visited the Grand Ole Opry, saw some fine country music performances there. We drove on out to Bristol and caught a NASCAR race there. We visited President Jackson's home, the memorial site there, ate at a bunch of Waffle Houses, had a great time. Tennessee's full of just wonderful, big-hearted, lovely people, and it's one of the places I may very well move to in the future here. Well, anyway, while we were there, we walked over from where the Grand Ole Opry Theater is to the mall there, and there's a big Bass Pro shop there, one of the bigger ones we've seen. And it was kind of neat. We went to the gun department, and you see something in the gun department there in Tennessee that you certainly don't see in California, and that is quite a number, if not all, of the guns that they have available for sale they're just right out there in racks. You can pick them up, point them around. They're cabled down so somebody doesn't make off with them, but they're just right out there for you to see and pick up and play with. And that was kind of a neat thing. And I was looking at the gun counter there, and I was saying, wow, that's quite a gun counter there, because they're just lined up for days. And the gentleman behind the counter, who looked something like a cross between Grizzly Adams and a member of ZZ Top's, kind of said, well, we're kind of low in stock right now. And I'm kind of looking at this and I'm saying, low in stock? It's like you've got every gun known to mankind here. And he kind of points to a little area where there's like maybe 3 little empty slots, and he goes, yeah, we're out of them and them and them. That just depresses me. And that's kind of how it went. Definitely a different culture gun-wise in Tennessee than California, let me tell you. But what really brings this to mind was my wife, who was with me, was speaking to the gentleman. She said, hey, what's the waiting period like in Tennessee? And he said, waiting period? Just kind of got a quizzical, like a dog that hears a funny sound look on his face, And she goes, yeah, you pay for your gun and you come back a certain number of days later and you pick it up. And again, he gets this look on his face. And here's Mr. Grizzly Adams, ZZ Top band member, kind of says, you mean you pay for it and you don't want to pick it up today and take it home? He just kind of looked, looked a little silly there for a bit. And we go, well, we're from California and we've got this crazy 10-day waiting period. He goes, oh, California. Well, I guess that's all right. And it brings up the subject of waiting periods. You buy your gun, and in, I don't know, maybe most parts of the United States, you pay for your gun, you pick it up that day, you take it home, you're fine. They do a background check on you to make sure that you're not some lunatic or criminal, and life is good. But not so in California, and not so in several states around the country. California has a 10-day waiting period, and other states or municipalities or counties or whatever, they have different waiting periods, I think, ranging anywhere from like 3 to 15 days. And it goes like this. You've got to pay for your gun, you got to do all your paperwork up front, and you've got to come back 10 days later to pick up your purchase. Now, ostensibly, the purpose behind this is that if you're some crazed lunatic that you just caught your wife in bed with somebody, that this is a cooling off period. In other words, you're a crazed lunatic right now. If they give you that gun right now, you're just going to, I don't know, go kill people right away. And the second reason is that, well, this gives law enforcement time to do a background check on you. Now, that kind of sounds a little bit more reasonable. But you think about what this is. Is there anything else that works this way? And what's it really doing to prevent crime? What's it really doing to prevent somebody, buying a gun and immediately going off and just starting to shoot people up? Well, it doesn't really do anything. I've been looking around and I've been trying to find a case where prior to these laws being in effect, somebody they bought a gun that same day, they bought the gun and they just went off and started shooting somebody. And I imagine there's been a couple. I keep hearing, well, I think there was that one time little things like that. But no documented cases that I know of where somebody bought a gun and that same day took off and started shooting people up. Seems to me that if you're mad enough to kill somebody, you're going to be mad enough 10 days later. So that part of the reasoning just never made any sense to me. Then the other part, well, it gives law enforcement time to do a background check on you. Well, do they ever actually do this background check, I guess is the question. I don't really know of a case, and I haven't found one, where that's really done them any good anyway. Because we have this instant check infrastructure that they're doing on you right away when they fill out the paperwork in the first place. And this seems to work well everywhere else in the country where they just plain hand you your gun, the day you buy it. So it's another case where all they're doing is they're hassling people. They're hassling gun stores and they're hassling otherwise law-abiding citizens for no good reason. By the way, I've talked to the gun stores in my area, and they let me know that the California Department of Justice is out at their store on an average of once a month, sometimes more. Now, this is just the gun stores I've talked to in my area, checking their paperwork, or they send somebody out there to try to buy a gun, and get it without the 10-day waiting period and all this stuff. Every single month. Now, you think about the fact that these are California Department of Justice employees. They're probably making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. They've got, believe me, in California, gold-plated benefits and retirement programs. They're probably driving a state car or getting their gas paid for by the state. I'm sure that in many cases they're driving to outlying areas, and we're paying, as the taxpayers, for hotel and meals and all kinds of stuff. And so it's not beyond imagination at all to sort of conclude that, wow, we're wasting millions of dollars a year on a program like this. That particularly comes to mind when my experience, and I know people now who are in that restaurant business, and I used to be, that in most cases the health department doesn't check on restaurants that often. The automotive bureau doesn't, check on smog shops or automobile repair facilities that often. I can't think of anybody who's being hassled to the degree that gun owners and gun stores are being hassled in this regard. And they're pretty crazy about it, too. That 10-day waiting period, that is 10 full 24-hour days. So you might think if you come in on Monday afternoon and you throw your money down and you're going to come back, let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to come in the next Friday and pick up your gun. Well, hey, everything's fine, right? No, if you came in at 3 in the afternoon, they've got to wait till like 3:01 in the afternoon before they can release that gun to you. So it's like they're really sticklers for this. And I've heard of a couple of cases where some gun stores have been fined because they've done something like they've released a gun to somebody 10 minutes early. Now think about that. Millions of dollars wasted on a program like this to pop somebody and give them a fine, or pull their license or suspend it temporarily or something like that, just for engaging in the transaction of what is a lawful thing to own here in the United States. We still have the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Millions of your dollars in a state like California, where we're going broke already, and they're gonna go crazy on this thing to the point where it's got to be 24-hour days. Some gun stores have even said, well, screw it, we're just going to say it's 11 days. We're going to go 11 days here to avoid all the hassle. Does it stop any crime? Not that I can find. Does it keep jealous husbands from buying guns and shooting up the lovers of their, of their adulterous wives? Not that I can find. It certainly hasn't helped in any of these school shooting cases or anything like that. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't helped in any kind of crime situation at all, because criminals aren't usually getting their weapons from gun stores. They're getting them through other illegal means. Now, in addition to that, in California, we have a 30-day waiting period for handguns. You buy a handgun new from a store, you're allowed to buy one per month. Again, another silly 30-day waiting period, another waiting period scheme, 30 days in this case, where you can only buy one gun every 30 days. You got to wait for that 30 days to go by before you can buy another one. Well, if you're a collector of handguns or something like this, this is terrible. You walk into a shop that maybe has some guns come in that are in short supply or something like that, or they're brand new, and you want to buy a couple of them. Well, you can't do it. You have to rely on the good graces of the store you're dealing with or something like that. Now, why is this law in place? Well, ostensibly, it's to keep you from doing something like buying a whole bunch of guns and then selling them to criminals. I haven't found any evidence that this actually ever happened. It seems to me that criminals don't want to get their guns through legal sources in the first place. So again, your tax dollars in California, or wherever you are for that matter, because this isn't something that's only in California. Other states have other waiting periods with other restrictions. But it's your tax money being wasted at a time when all the governments are going broke anyway. Almost forgot to mention, one of the things that drives me crazy about this is that this 10-day waiting period and this 30-day waiting period stuff, this is every single time you go to buy a gun, a handgun or a rifle in the case of the 10-day waiting period, and a handgun in the case of the 30-day waiting period. Every single time that you go to buy a gun. Now, if you're somebody like me that already has enough guns to do havoc, you've seen my videos, there's a lot of guns that I've got here. If I was a crazy lunatic who wanted to go shoot someplace up, what good does a 10-day waiting period on me buying another gun do? It's like, oh wait, I'm gonna knock off a liquor store, but I need a brand new gun for that, because all of my old guns, they're just not good enough. There's some sentimental reason when I go to knock off a liquor store or rob a bank that I just have to have a brand new gun. I love the new gun smell, and it's not the same. So that's just another part of this that's silly to me, that doesn't make any sense. At the very least, you'd think there would be some way whereby you could say, well, hey, this somebody who already owns a gun or owns several guns. There's no point in this 10-day waiting period where he's concerned, because we're not doing any good one way or the other, and the same for the 30-day waiting period as well. It's just another series of stupid gun laws designed to hassle you, the law-abiding citizen going about exercising your Second Amendment rights, and hassling legitimate gun owners who are doing nothing but servicing the needs of their customers. That's Zombie Tactics for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.